Testing out autofocus on this camera. Not sure how well it works. I've never really used it much before, but I think I'm going to need it for this. So, just a few minutes ago, literally just a few minutes ago, we released our behind the scenes tour video, and hopefully you've had a chance to see that. Toward the end of my segment on it, I briefly show this table full of stuff that we're borrowing from future episodes, and not wanting to give away too much, I didn't want to really go in depth on it. But I thought, you know what? You know who deserves to see what's on this table? I thought our Patreon subscribers would probably be pretty interested in this. So here's kind of an overview of my borrowed stuff table. And to be honest, I haven't looked at some of this in a few months, so this is going to be a bit of discovery for me too. Well, first, right here, this is, you've already seen this actually. This is a PAL GameCube. It's a little, got some sun fading. I'm not sure if this is sort of pearly white. I don't know if this is like a official color or a custom job. But this is a PAL GameCube that we're borrowing from Badass Consoles, and he just threw this in the box because we had said on Twitter we were hoping to borrow a PAL GameCube to show the Game Boy interface with RGB cables, you know, just the native RGB cables, because you can do 240p. You know, what's the advantage of using component cables versus RGB if all you need is 240p? So I thought that was an interesting thing to look at, and he's letting us borrow this for a while longer for RGB. Well, it might end up being RGB 208. It'll be either 208 or 209 will be our Game Boy episode. Also related to that, this is possibly the most interesting thing on the table. We are borrowing this from a streamer. He goes by Mike Da Mike. He started talking to us on Twitter. He seems to have a real commitment to video quality and is really into the mods and all that. And this thing is expensive. It's called a Wideboy 64. I forgot these even existed. I'm so glad he brought it to our attention because even if I had remembered about them, I probably wouldn't have had any expectation of being able to get our hands on one. This is a Super Game Boy for your N64, and it was sold really only to developers and the press. And you can, you know, it's kind of sloppy. I mean, you can even see how the cartridges, you know, the cartridge slot isn't even like complete on this side. It's a very makeshift sort of thing. And it's interesting, especially when combined with the HDMI mod. It is incredibly sharp. Made by Intelligent Systems. Did I mention that yet? Crazy stuff, but very rare. Don't expect to use this as your primary playing Game Boy on the big screen device because it is so expensive. But it does look fantastic. Sound, however, might be its critical flaw. So don't necessarily think that just because you're using a GameCube Game Boy player with a Game Boy interface, you're getting a worse experience than playing through the N64. It looks really fantastic though, and I'm excited to dig more into it for the episode. It has a ton of advantages. It really is neat, and this is probably going to be the most fun thing and the most fun, if not necessarily the most practical thing in our Game Boy RGB episode. You've already seen these as well. I'm borrowing these from Bob at Retro RGB. He's letting us borrow a GameShark version 3.0. I ended up later getting a 3.3 to use in the episode, and he also let us borrow his EverDrive 64 for the episode. Bob has let us borrow a ton of stuff, and in fact, I would say most of this space on this table is thanks to him. I emailed him in September, asking if we could have some pictures of the inside of a one-chip SNES, a one-chip 03 specifically. And he said, "You want me to just send you one?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." And since then, he has just been such a helpful ally in the RGB series, helping us get our hands on hardware that, frankly, otherwise we would not have. And again, that is so much thanks to Patreon that we are able to accept those offers, because we can help pay for shipping. And, to ship all this kind of stuff, before we were getting some assistance, we probably would have declined because it would have just been too much money. So it's been so helpful for expanding how much we can cover on the show. This here is a PAL SNES. I have never before now used a PAL system. And my PVM won't support it, but I have been able to play through the FrameMeister. It's interesting. It's got that squish, and it's a little jerky looking. It's weird. It's at least, I tested Yoshi's Island here. It didn't seem like slowed down or anything. The music and everything sounded normal to me, though, I don't exactly have perfect pitch. But yeah, it was just, it was like running at a low frame rate, so it's interesting to really see that in person. The reason I'm borrowing this is from our good friend Scott in Scotland. And the reason I initially asked him about, I wanted to look at a PAL Super Game Boy, again, for the Game Boy episode. And we may be able to use this, we may be able to record some other stuff, and just so we can have some B-roll on hand of examples of PAL stuff and PAL issues. Here's the PAL Super Game Boy. Very curious to compare it to the others. Mario World plus All-Stars PAL. Starwing PAL. I haven't tried it yet. That'll be interesting to see. And Street Fighter 2 Turbo. This will be interesting because I really don't have any real experience with Street Fighter or fighting games in general. And it'll be interesting because I won't necessarily have any biases or any expectations as to how it should run. So that'll be interesting. He also threw in this bag, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to use it for the GameCube episode. But this is a official Nintendo SCART cable for the GameCube, and so we will use this with Badass Consoles PAL GameCube. We'll use this with that for the Game Boy episode to show what PAL RGB is supposed to look like, because the capacitors or resistors or whatever inside the cable, the configuration is technically a little different from a PAL Super Nintendo, or a NTSC Super Nintendo. So the colors that you saw in that one example we showed in the GameCube episode with the PAL cable might not be quite exactly right, but probably close enough. But we'll get to see what it's really supposed to look like for sure. Man, there's so much stuff on this table really related to the Game Boy episode. Once we're done with that episode, I can clear off most of this. This is, gosh, I'm almost tempted to say this is the most interesting thing on the table. There's so many interesting things. This is, we're borrowing from the people who are making the, I don't know if it's supposed to be HD My Boy, like HD My Game Boy, or, that's HD My Boy. They're from, I forget where they're from, like Finland or Sweden or something. This is, let me put this cable out. Oh, a little dusty. So this is a prototype. These guys are taking Game Boys. It's still a prototype, but they're taking Game Boys and putting HDMI outputs. Where is it? There it is on the top. Again, this is a prototype. I don't know if this line down the middle that's adding the extra hardware, I don't know if it's going to look different in the end. It's kind of an interesting look. They add this port here for communicating with the computer if you need it. These switches toggle between color palettes and widescreen mode if you wanted to use that for whatever reason. And it's cool. It's actually got a Super Nintendo controller port built into it. That's crazy. And I haven't had a lot of time to test it yet, but it looks it's really neat. It's incredibly sharp. Certain color palettes looked like there were some issues along certain high contrast lines, but the color palettes that I did like seemed to not really have any issues. So, oh, here it's the Netherlands, right there. That's where they're from. So I don't know when this product is coming out, but it's really interesting. It's going to be another very interesting part of the Game Boy episode. That one is just going to have so much stuff that I think is really going to blow people's minds, because I honestly had no expectation of being able to get our hands on stuff like this. Here's another little thing that Bob from Retro RGB is letting us borrow. It's the EverDrive for the Game Boy. Just in case I needed to use it. I've tested it a little bit. It's it's a little slow. It has to actually like delete the current game from the RAM or whatever, and it's a really slow process. So it might not be all that convenient for quickly gathering footage, but we'll see. I'll probably use it some. I used it a little. I got the clip of Conker's Pocket Tales in the Conker episode using this. Here is there's a whole other section of Game Boy stuff and more from Bob. I've briefly looked at some of this. He said, you know, I need some extra space, so I'm just going to send you guys this stuff. He sent it to us sometime last year. He said, I don't care how long it takes you to get to it. Okay. Just a regular Game Boy Advance. As far as I know, this has no mods. I wonder if it does. I know some of them have mods that he sent us. I've got some batteries in my pocket. Let's find out. I've got an Arctic White. These Eneloops. People keep raving about these, and I actually just bought them. This is going to be the first time I've ever used them. I'm not a big rechargeable battery guy, but I don't know. People keep saying, you know, gotta use them Eneloops. Let's see here. Ooh, that does have a light. Nifty. Ooh, that looks really good. Wow. Yeah, I've got Mario Land in my pocket here. I've got this old sticker on the back. I used to have a Game Genie. It has Game Genie codes on the back. I don't have it anymore. It's kind of a neat looking Game Genie. I should get one again. Wow. That's, I mean, I know you can't really get a sense for it. I hate setting the Game Boy color palettes. That blue is just because of the crappy color palette that it's choosing by default. Yeah, that looks really good. Wow. 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 Okay, I want. I'm not getting all of this mod. I had no idea. I know he gave us a list of the stuff that he sent at some point, but wow. I just forgotten, not because I hadn't really gone through it yet. That looks awesome. Wow. Wow. And see, I love, like, the Game Boy Advance SP, I loved that during its day, but it's so hard to go back to that cramped style. I mean, I love the design of that small square with the clamshell. I love it. But this looks amazing. I wonder if it's I have no idea if it's a completely different screen. I'm going to have to ask him. I don't know if it's a different screen or if it's just got a light. It looks really good. Wow. Wow. All right, I'm impressed. Oh, let me get my batteries out. Let's see. I know that there's a couple of Game Boy, original Game Boy styles with light mods as well. Let's see here. He also sent us. I've always been a little skeptical of these things ever since I was a kid. These AC adapter things. They're probably fine. I haven't tried it since he sent it. One of my friends had them back in the day. Is there some sort of mod, or is this just missing a screen on this DS Lite? I don't know what that is. I've got a DS Lite anyway, so my mom used it forever. She broke the hinge. Haven't tried this yet. This is one of those, play your other system games on a Super Nintendo adapters, which is really just using the Super Nintendo for its controller ports and power. It's actually processing it on its own and has its own video output, so it's not like you can take advantage of RGB quality to play your GBA games on your Super Nintendo. You're just going to get composite output, sadly. But I haven't tested it yet. Might surprise me, who knows? Here is a Game Boy Advance SP. I don't know if this is an older model. I don't have my old model with the only partially lit screen anymore, but I do have the, was it 101? The one with like the really good, like better than DS Lite quality screen. I've got that, which is, by the way, a really excellent screen. I'd say it even rivals the original PSP screen. It's great stuff. Also sent, he also sent, I've already got one of these. He didn't need to send this. This is a Super Game Boy 2, which the interesting thing about it is that it is more accurate. It's actually slower than the Super Game Boy 1, but it is more accurate to how a Game Boy game is supposed to run. So that's why I got it. And this is going to be a very interesting part of the video. And these aren't that expensive. They're like, I don't know, 35 bucks. This is a, seems like a regular Super Game Boy, right? I've got one too. Don't need this, do I? Or what? What is this? There are buttons on the side? To be honest, I forget. I think, I believe he said that this is a mod that toggles between speed modes. I think that's what it is. There's another something down there that you need a pin to hit. I don't know. I'll have to double check with him what some of these things that he sent are, because it's been months. And here's a crazy looking thing. This is a GB Boy color. I am uncertain what language those characters come from. Kongfing Industries. 56 colors is mixed to 32,000 colors. The new style construction and economy power technology. More colors for choice. New front light screen, much more better. Let's check it out. Whoa, I don't know if he's even opened this. It looks like it's been opened before. It's got that atomic purple going on here. Different color than is on the box, where you just gain a random one and trade with your friends. Is that what's going on here? How similar is this? It's a little bigger. The back side of the shell looks pretty similar, but it's definitely taller. So it's not using the exact same mold, but it's very similar. Very similar. This, by the way, is a Game Boy Color he threw in. It might have a light mod. I'm not sure. Test in a minute. Let's see here. This uses 2 AA's. Pop in that Mario Land. Wow. I don't know if you can see very well, but where the volume slider is, it has some nasty chipping or just really sloppy way it's constructed or something. Lit screen says, oh, here, let me turn that off. It said GB Boy. It's kind of wide. It's got a weird aspect. There is some funky scaling going on here. You see the I don't know if you can see the pyramid, like the diagonal of the pyramid looks really funky. The viewing angle on the screen isn't that good. Sounds like you would expect though, but it's got this weird wide aspect, and yeah, it's got some weird scaling issues going on. Feels responsive though. Like the viewing angle is bad, but like straight on, it looks pretty good. Actually, the D-pad and buttons feel pretty good too. Aside from the screen issues, this is not bad. Not bad. I mean, it's kind of bad, but it's better than I expected. Weird scaling though. Let's check out that Game Boy Color. I believe one of them might have a light mod. Let's see. I'll box up that GB Color later. See what we got here. The battery back is loose. It stayed on the table. Yep, this does have a light. Very dim. Is there a brightness? I don't know if there's a way up the brightness or anything. This the buttons aren't working. That's weird. It does not look as good. It's weird the buttons aren't working. Or at least start button's not working. I can't start the game. Huh. This is not nearly as impressive as that Game Boy Advance light mod was though. That was awesome. I'll call this one a miss. Here's another Game Boy Advance SP. Again, I'm not sure which one this is. I'll be glad to have the original style of light to show off, though, whichever one of those is which, because, like I said, I don't have that anymore. Let's see. And then there's, of course, a Game Boy Pocket. We all know about the Game Boy Pocket. I've got a Game Boy Pocket. But now this is cool. This is a Game Boy Light, which is essentially like a Game Boy Pocket. I think it might be a tiny bit bigger. This is an official product that I haven't tested it yet. This is an official product that it uses double A's, unlike the regular Pocket, which uses triple A's. Yeah, Nintendo made this, released it only in Japan. And let's see how good it actually looks. There is no light, but I think you turn it on. You can. Oh wait, on light. It's got the contrast slider just like normal. How do I turn on the light? It says on/light at the top there. But I've got the switch. Oh wait, is the light on? There's actually 3 positions. Huh, it's not working on the first position. Uh-oh. There it comes. The light's not on. Or if it is, it's really crappy. I don't know. Hopefully this works. Weird. Because that's definitely something I'd like to show on the episode. Originally, that episode was going to be only about, or primarily, almost exclusively about how to play your Game Boy games on the big screen. But since Bob was able to send us all this stuff to borrow, it's definitely going to at least very quickly touch on all sorts of different options for playing, in the original intended portable format as well. Does that pretty much cover the Game Boy stuff? Wait, no, there's something in here. What's this? What's this? Oh, okay, I think I tested this before. Looks pretty much like a normal Game Boy, right? That screen looks a little less green, though. Thankfully, I've got 4 batteries on me. Other pocket. That's a double A. There we go. Ooh. With a weird blue outline to that light there. Focus. Focus. So this is just a normal black and white Game Boy. I assume that is a totally replaced screen? I don't know. I'll have to check with Bob if that's a totally replaced screen or just some sort of light added. Not too awful. I mean, I would have loved to have had this as a kid. Yeah. Not shabby. A little weird looking, but not too shabby. All right. I think that covers the Game Boy stuff. That should be it. But that's not all that's on the table. So yeah, this table will get cleared off quite a bit once we finish the Game Boy episode, which I hope will be probably not June at this point, but hopefully July maybe. It's not, no, that's not a promise. There's so many things that we really need to get to. Yeah. So a couple of other interesting things that he sent us are Neo Geo Pockets. I've never used one of these before. This one is just a regular Neo Geo Pocket. This is a Neo Geo Pocket Color. And I can't remember if I tested them before. Let's see, what's so that open and close thing, need a coin to get into that. Uses AAA's, looks like. This game in here is Metal Slug First Mission. Focus. Is it focusing? Focus. There we go. It's rated E for everyone. Alright. We're running AAA's in here. Power? Do I just hold it? Oh man, here it comes. Ooh, that is dark. Contrast button. Here we go. Oh, here we go. I don't know why these batteries I thought were charged. I don't know why it's got that blinking light. I don't know what that means. I can choose English or Japanese. Well, this is sort of a weird, not quite joystick. I guess it's meant to be kind of arcadey. The A button is in the B button position. English, yes. Set date and time, no. It's just going to be January 1998, okay? Now this is, sure is a black and white looking screen. Yeah, come around and my studio lights to see this. Sub battery dead. Memory failure imminent. Change sub battery. Sounds pretty dire. Oh, you can see that. Wow. Whoa. This is crazy looking. There's like almost some sort of perception of depth to the screen. It's weird. It looks fuzzier to me than a Game Boy screen. I don't know if that's just this unit. It doesn't feel bad though. There's like 2 layers to this screen. Man, this is weird. See, they've got the A button here, which is jump. But then the B button's over here, which is shoot. Aside from the swap buttons, though, it feels pretty good. It's hard to look at, though, it really is. I'll just hold that turned off. Sub battery dead, memory failure imminent. Change sub battery. It really wants me to change that sub battery. It must be the thing that's in that compartment. Okay, alright. Let's check out the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Same batteries? Oh no, this big boy needs some double A's. Oh, this has a light. This has a light. I don't know if that's an official part of the system or not. I have no idea what game I'm turning on here. Oh, it looks like Sonic something. What does it say? Sonic the Hedgehog Pocket Adventure. Okay. Press A button, which is where the B button should be. The screen looks a little weird. I just have no idea whether it's originally lit or if that's a mod. It's crazy to think that a Sonic game would be on portable like this. I can't even remember what year the Neo Geo is from. Wow, this looks like the Chemical Zone or whatever it's called. I'm not that big of a Sonic guy. This is the first level, I think. Not what I would expect out of a Sonic first level. But anyway, not super impressed with how that looks, but I mean it's interesting, just definitely interesting to see portable games from that era that, you know, aren't Nintendo. It's definitely unique. Decent sound. Anyway, so I think that wraps up the handheld stuff. We're almost done here. Almost done here. Before I'll skip ahead, or before skipping ahead to the thing that might be of interest to a lot of you. These are actually not borrowing these. These are actually, I just rediscovered them recently. And so I just put them on the table because to remind me to look into them. These are GC VGA box and PS2 VGA box. I bought these back in college, hoping they would be a good way to get my games on my monitor, so I wouldn't need to have a TV because, you know, CRTs back in those days, that was the only option I had to bring to college. But I never got them to work quite right. And it's really weird because like the PS2 one, you're supposed to plug in the memory card slot. And I can't imagine what that's supposed to do. Like, what is this thing really doing? Like, what is it really tapping? What signal is it tapping? I have no idea. Obviously, I know a heck of a lot more about this now than I did back then, and you know, I'm sure this thing is really just a piece of crap. I love the back though. Situate in the enjoyment as in dreamland. You can do that with the GameCube one too. It's amazing. But yeah, I never got them to work correctly, but it might just be a fun thing to look at sometime. Two more things to look at. These are from, when we get to a TurboGrafx episode, this is from DB Electronics. I don't have the TurboGrafx yet to test this with, but this has, is to go into the back slot of a TurboGrafx and has composite S video and RGB outputs, mod-free RGB from a TurboGrafx or a PC Engine. Sadly, though, that means you can't use a CD add-on. If you can't play Rondo of Blood, man, I don't know. And then this, I haven't tested this yet. This is, Corey has a shell for this from Stone Age Gamer. This is a, again from DB Electronics, a Power Base Mini FM. You can play Master System games on the Genesis with FM sound. I was going to try using it without the shell, but I don't know, I was nervous I was going to break the little things on it, putting it in the cartridge slot, so I didn't test it yet. Anyway, the last thing here, and you may have seen me show this on stream before, but this is the fabled OSSC. The open source scan converter. Here it is, or at least the current version of it. I've only tested it a little bit so far, but you know, it's amazing how much they've got on it in such a compact design. And there's a new firmware for it. And I need to install that. The little bit of testing I did, I had some pretty severe sync issues, and I'm hoping that the new firmware fixes that. So I'm taking off the next week and a half, and aside from trying to get through Dark Souls 3, which I'd really like to do, I'm also going to be testing some of this stuff so that we know what we're getting into for some of these future episodes. This is a pretty high priority. Well, there actually is one more thing. Oh, there's two more things. This is a piece of crap. I had this. This is mine actually. This isn't something I'm borrowing, but I just have it here for this GameCube to PlayStation controller adapter. We're going to feature this in our soon forthcoming episode. I think it's going to be the next episode about controller adapters. This is mine. I've had that. I'm just putting it there. Here's another thing. One more thing. This is a DVD-O Edge. This is a pretty popular upscaler unit. Viewer of the show offered to let us borrow this, and we're so thankful for that because we've heard, especially from Matt Buxton of Video Game Perfection, that combining the OSSC with the DVD-O Edge is possibly the best configuration for using the OSSC. So we're so glad we're able to borrow this. To be honest, it's supposed to be a fast upscaler, a more simple upscale than something like the FrameMeister does. I've sort of forgotten. I've read about it, but I've sort of forgotten exactly its capabilities. But yeah, so combining the OSSC with this is going to be very interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of results I can get with that. These two devices combined is frankly going to be more than a FrameMeister, but it'll be it'll be interesting to see how they work together. So anyway, I hope this was watchable enough. I hope this wasn't too rambly. I know it was a little rambly. But yeah, so this is just kind of where we're at. We're making a lot of this stuff kind of high priority because, you know, I feel bad that we're borrowing some of this stuff, and, you know, we can only make so many of these episodes at a time. You know, it takes a lot out of us. But, you know, we want to use them, get them back. People have been so generous to let us borrow them. Man, not this. It's that Game Boy. Man. This is the most impressive thing I think I found. Looking through this today. I gotta ask Bob what this is about, because I love the feel of the old wide Game Boy Advance. Anyway, I need to shut up. So yeah, again, all this borrowing and the shipping costs involved is so entirely thanks to you all. We weren't doing stuff like this before we had a Patreon, but we didn't really promote it, and then we put out that video, and so many of you responded to that. And that was when our Patreon finally, you know, kicked into a high enough gear to let us do this, to let us borrow stuff, to let us cover shipping costs. And you can clearly see a difference in the comprehensiveness of the RGB Masterclass before and after when our Patreon took off. So that is entirely thanks to you, our patrons, and we're just so thankful for that. So, you know, give yourselves a pat on the back for making the RGB Masterclass and the rest of our show what it is. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.